What's up, Waxo? Welcome to the Roots and Relics podcast, a podcast for locals. Today we have a very interesting guest. Her name is Velma Fann with New South. She's a historian, traveled all over the nation doing oral histories, and she's here to talk today about her process and how she's going to help out Waxo's Historic Preservation Commission with their oral history projects. And we're excited to have her on today. How you doing, Velma?
Great. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Good. Thank you.
All right. Well, just want to introduce Velma Fann from New South. She's a historian, and wanted to hear a little bit about what it is you do and a little bit about your process. This is a history podcast, so
Yes,
Roots and Relics
All right.
of the town of Waxhaw, and we got a lot of history here in this town. So tell us a little bit about your process.
Well, I am a historian, and I specialize, it seems now, in oral history.
Okay.
So I meet people, and I convince them to tell me their stories.
Oh, I love that. Kind of like podcasting.
Finally, podcast.
All right. Cool. Very cool.
I think it's a great process because that gives people whose stories are not always recorded an opportunity to speak and to let people know what's going on with them and with their family and all of that. Sometimes we rely so heavily on the written history, and underrepresented people are not always included in a written history.
Sure, I could definitely see that for like even small towns like this. You know, there's certain people who are like the one who did this or the one who did that, and then you almost never hear about them until their stories are told, until they're collected digitally like this.
Yes.
Recorded. Do you do it all through audio?
We do audio and we also record.
Very cool. That's awesome. So that's great for like the families. That's great for just the general archives. I think the whole world is kind of going more digital with everything anyways. So even if you do something in audio or video, it kind of gets translated now to this new age of digital archives.
It does.
So.
But I still like to print it out.
Okay. All right.
Because as technology changes, that printed word right there is there.
Yeah, I get that. I still like a physical book, so I totally understand. Definitely. All right, that's pretty cool. So where have you actually done these history?
I've done oral histories in Virginia and Mississippi.
Wow.
Alabama, Georgia. We just kind of go all the way around wherever our clients are.
That is very cool. Is there any theme that you go for, or is it just history in general?
It depends. A lot of it right now is focusing on African American history.
Oh, that's awesome.
And some of it is looking back, I would say, 1950s. Well, people are getting older.
Yeah, so like 75 years or back.
Yes, and they want their stories told.
Very cool.
And it's a great time.
Well, I know you're coming down here to help Waxhaw with their African American History Project.
Yes.
So that is a project done by the Historic Preservation Commission. So we're excited to have you with that. I think it's going to be really awesome. I'm sure there's a ton of great stories to tell here.
I'm sure there is.
Do you have any yet? Maybe you want to give us a sneak peek?
There was this baseball team that everybody's talking about, a black baseball team. And it just seems like it was probably informal, but that was like the gathering. And people from all of different towns would come because it was very competitive just to watch the African American baseball players.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So was there other teams around Union County?
There were probably other teams around, smaller community teams.
Very cool.
And it was like, this is the event.
That's awesome.
Everybody show up.
So the whole community would show up.
The whole community would show up.
That's very, very cool. All right, I like that. I love the fact that you're actually creating history yourself by going back in the archives and doing it all yourself. So tell me a little bit more about you. How did you get involved in this?
I was a journalism major.
Very cool. All right.
And I fell in love with history later on in my career. So I am stationed out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I was the manager of my church bookstore. Long story. And I started collecting documents about slavery. And these were handwritten bills of sales and documents.
Wow.
And so once I got a hold of that really kind of shifted, who I was.
Sure.
Because you hear about it, but to read about it and to hold it, that really changes who you are. That really says, wow, this really happened.
Yeah.
And so I just began to have a love for history. Got a degree in historic preservation. Well, a certificate, because they didn't have a degree program at that time. And just followed that. Oh, I wrote 3 or 4 books.
Oh, wow. Yeah, don't forget about that.
In the meantime.
Very cool.
The flagship is entitled Lest We Forget. And it's a book that has documents that you can actually pull out.
Really?
Bills of sales and things of that nature. And a lot of libraries has it.
Where is that? Oh, so it's available in libraries?
It's available in libraries. It's available on Amazon with several other books. But I always caution people, if you get it, make sure the documents are in there. Make sure it's good, extra good, great, fine condition.
Okay, that's really cool. So 4 books. Wow.
Yeah.
So you started out writing. So you're an author.
I'm an author.
Very cool. So I'm an author as well.
Good.
I work in research, so I kind of understand your passion for going down those rabbit holes. And once you start tugging at strings, you
Yes.
kind of find more and more and more. And just if you're curious, you will find the stories and everything.
Yeah,
So
you will.
that's really cool. That's a cool shift. So you got a degree or a certificate in historic preservation.
Historic preservation.
Okay.
Degree in journalism and political science.
That's very cool. So do you work with buildings at all with the historic preservation?
Our company does, but I don't. I'm a
Okay.
people person.
Yeah. Okay.
I work
Great.
with people.
So the oral history stuff is right down your alley. That's
It's
what you
what
do.
I love to do.
You love to sit down, talk to people, get their stories, pull it out of them.
Right?
Okay. Any methodology, any tips for me for as a podcaster? Do you like just sit down with a cup of coffee and just let it rip?
Let people get to know you.
Okay.
Call them, chat with them
Yeah.
when you set up the interviews. Because I think those first 5 minutes can make or break it. To be honest.
That is true. That is true. You got to have a little bit of a dance.
Yeah,
So,
and people, as I'm reading people are reading me.
Yeah.
I'm surprised at the number of senior citizens who have told me, "Baby, I looked you up on the internet."
yeah. Well, nowadays you can just get a name and
Yeah.
you can find out a lot about a
Right,
person.
but they want to know, who am I? To
Right.
come to them and ask them about their lives.
Okay.
So that's all important.
Well, that is cool. So at least here we're highlighting you as the person, and we're talking about you and all the great work that you're doing,
Thank
and that's
you.
really really cool. That again, you're telling everybody else's stories, but it's nice to tell
Yes.
yours as well. So
Yes.
that's pretty cool.
I would also encourage young people to talk to your elders and get these stories now.
Great tip. I love
A
that.
lot of times we say, "Well, I have time," but I talked to my mother. She just turned 100 years old.
Wow.
And her sister, who's probably about 97, and I just asked them about their lives, and the things they told me, I was just floored. I had no idea about her earlier life.
Are you documenting it?
I recorded it, and we printed it out, and we sent it to other family members.
That is so cool. I love that idea. I mean,
do that.
my family has kind of lost its history over the years, but I did find a couple years ago that a family member had wrote a book about my whole family. It's not my direct family, but somebody who married into another family, the McCoys. And they're a famous family from history, a textile family from up in New York. And it was just really interesting to find how, again, you have to tell those stories. Somebody's got to sit down and do that work. And you're the person doing that work. So that's really cool. Very awesome. That's cool. I like that idea. I like doing that with your family. That's a great idea for anybody who's listening.
Right.
Sit down, talk to your grandparents, get their stories before they leave us. And, again, pass it down and keep on adding to those stories. Keep creating history is kind of another theme to this podcast is,
Yes.
We're in a great historic neighborhood, but we're also creating history here today,
Yes.
so we like to talk about that as well. Awesome. Very cool. So, anything else you want to talk about?
I think a lot of times people will say, "I'm not important. I didn't do anything great." But as you begin to talk to them, you begin to see that, yes, they did something in their life. They stepped outside of the boundaries somewhere. And sometimes we are self-deprecating, and we figure, well, nobody wants to know my story. Your story is an inspiration to someone.
That is a great point. Yeah, no, I love that. Sharing those stories can help somebody like you'll never even know.
You'll
And
never
that's why
know.
recording it, doing things on social media, online, grading books, writing books.
Writing books.
Those things last forever.
Yes,
So
they do.
that's pretty cool. Draw inspiration from for the future. Very cool. Very cool. So you said you're from Georgia.
I'm originally from Detroit,
Originally
but
from
I have
Detroit.
lived in Atlanta longer than I've lived in Detroit. So
Okay.
I have to claim Atlanta now.
All right. I'm going to Atlanta at the end of the month. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be down your neck of the woods in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And so that's really cool. You get to go all around the country and just sit down with people. So how do you book them? Like, how do you find these people?
A lot of times our clients will say, okay, so here's a group of people, and so will reach out to you. You need to have somebody with boots on the ground
Yeah. Okay.
that introduces you, that vets you to the community, that says, well, I talked to him or her and they seem okay.
Okay.
And so that's the way to actually go in. And I think when we go in and talk to people, we have a set of questions, but other questions will come up.
Sure. Yeah.
And a lot of emotions will come up. And sometimes I was not always prepared for that.
Well,
Because
that's the best.
sometimes I'm talking about people who really had a serious struggle during the civil rights movement. And while they were talking about it, it's okay. But then when they begin to think about it, then
Yeah.
their body language shifts.
Sure.
They start to look away.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wow, this had an emotional impact that's still with people.
Yeah.
So there's a level of sensitivity,
Yeah.
and sometimes it takes me by surprise.
I bet.
And that's all part of being human and talking to people,
That's how you get the real stories.
That's how you get the real stories.
Yeah.
And then there's stories that they love to tell, that, the highlights of their life.
Yeah.
And we want to share into that too.
Wow.
So all of that is just opening up and telling me, like, who are you? And what's important to you? What have you done? And how have you changed someone's life? And what are people saying?
Very thought-provoking.
And what is your legacy? What would you like to leave for younger people?
Right.
All those things are important.
That is very cool. So do you usually tap into like local historic preservation commissions like Waxhaws to find those folks that you want to interview?
Yeah.
Cool.
The local group really says, these are the people.
Okay.
This is the organization. Here are the churches. And then I need to go back and do my own history.
Sure.
So that when I ask questions, they can say, well, at least she did her homework. Older people are very big on, did you do your homework?
Sure.
So
That's awesome.
You have to come with a little bit of preparation.
Sure. Yeah. So what was the name of your books?
Lest We Forget the Passage from Africa to Emancipation.
Okay.
No Man Can Hinder Me. That's a songbook, a CD. African American Spirituals. Freedom's Children, which talked about Reconstruction, which is a whole nother subject that people don't want to speak about.
Reconstruction.
Reconstruction.
Tell me a little bit about that. What does
Reconstruction, that was the era right after the end of the Civil War, and African Americans were really rising to the top.
Yeah.
We were holding political offices. We were building our schools. We were saying, you didn't give us much at freedom, but we're going to take what you gave us and build something. And then it was the repercussion of all of that.
Wow.
It was when the Klan arose.
Sure.
It was when the Night Riders arose, and Jim Crow, and all those laws that kept us from voting and living as humans.
Yeah. Some of those histories are very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable, and the nation doesn't really want to talk about it now.
But you have to move forward and to realize where we are even today. That's why you have to tell those
it.
stories. That's really cool. And the fourth one?
The fourth one was about the Civil Rights Movement.
Oh, cool.
And then I have one tucked away.
Okay.
That I'm writing about, and I'll just give a little plug. It's about the slave ship Wanderer, which was brought to Georgia illegally in 1858. And there is an individual whose life that I am tracing. He was enslaved, and he fought in the Civil War.
Wow.
And he applied for a pension, and all of the struggles that he went through. But what I really took away from that book is how, or that research, is how important community is. How
absolutely.
important it is to be embraced and people remember who you are.
Right.
Because if you go through the pension records, they're going to talk to the neighbors.
Yeah.
This was a soldier. What was his lifestyle? This is his widow. Before we give her money, tell me, was she what they call an upstanding woman? Did they have children? Did they have outside marriage? It's amazing. It's like a little bit of gossip. But your community knows who you are, and they can support you. And they say, this is a great couple. Whatever the situation was, they understood that. So you get a lot of community little nuances.
That's really cool. So it's like playing a game of telephone, though. So you're going to get some stories from this person and a little bit different from this person. And then you got to kind of make up your own.
And then when you get it, you begin to see that community was so important.
Yeah, oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
particularly if you're underrepresented. And these are the people who embrace you.
Right.
So that's my next journey.
That's awesome. No, I can't wait to read it. Well, thank you for coming on today. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
All right. Take care.
You.
Bye.